What's up, Dragon Ball player? We're back again at the motherfucking Cheddars on the back of the motherfucking Buick, doing it how we motherfucking do. We over here today with Rashaad, John Peterson, the Moffitt brothers, and my new big homie Juan.
What's going on?
What it fucking do, man?
Chilling, brother. You know the vibes. Deck profile parking lot. You know what I'm saying?
It's the new shit right here. Y'all kids ain't on this shit today. Rashaad, what the hell you brought today?
So I got top 8 at the Kitchen Table Games Regional today with Gotenks. We got one on today because he's one of the Gotenks player that has a history of doing really well with Gotenks. So we're just gonna go over a couple things, discuss our thoughts on some things. It's not gonna be long. I literally just did a Gotenks deck profile not too long ago. It's virtually the same. There's a couple cards difference, and I'll include the sideboard today since it was a regional. So I know, as y'all seen in my last list, I only played 4 unisons total, right? So I decided to change that, and I played 6 for this event, right? So I cut the Champa, double strike Champa, because I literally only had it in my opening hand every game, and I never draw it if it's not turn 1. And then it's a card I can't charge, and that caused me to have to charge a 6-drop Gotenks in one of my situations, and so I couldn't fuse at the time I needed to fuse. So I cut the Champa because it literally just never felt good in my hand. You can warp it with Paragus later, yada yada, but a lot of people just don't take you to 4. Like, all my games today went to turn 7 or 8. People just aren't taking you to 4, so you're not really ever Paragusing.
Do you think the reason why it took to turn 8 because the format got slower is just the players in general playing slow?
Oh, the players weren't playing slow because we were still going to turn 8, and if they were just stalling, the game would still end on turn 4 or 5, But they weren't playing slow, really. I didn't have a single game go to time today. Me and Legends had the fastest game today. We finished our games in 30 minutes. So shout out to Legends. He's always great. I love being around him. He's a good guy. So the unison I added was Bardock. It's pretty good against Galactic Buster, which is why I added this one. That's the most relevant one. And then just so happened I played against Cooler Mill twice today and got to knock some super combos out of the combo area. So
I'd say that's a pretty good choice right now, especially for what the meta, what you see in the meta right now, blue being so big, and with the Bojack cards you can come when they play, put them into play. This obviously makes them think twice, or when you just kill it or whatnot.
And then of course with the unisons you play freezer counter play. We've talked about this card enough. You know what it does.
Go buy him.
Of course still standard Gotenks stuff. Goku, we just talked about him. You know what he does. Same Gotenks line. Juan, would you play anything different in this lineup? So we'll get onto the fusions. This is where they may differ. So these are all the fusions I play. The same lineup I played the last time. For the one that's 2 names, Trunks that searches for unison, and recurring combo power.
So as far as my opinion, the only thing that I when I used to play it or whatnot, I used to play 4 of this guy, just to be matched up. Aside from that, I only play this guy. I don't play the Trunks because I feel like this is way more valuable than if you were to do it any other way. Because obviously, right. And then you playing this unisons, which 6 I think is perfectly fine. So back in the day, sometimes I would play, instead of this unison, I would play the Migra just because I was afraid of Dark Broly. I mean, not Dark Broly, sorry, Red Broly. Yeah. So Red Broly is nearly unbeatable against this deck. Red Broly will whoop you completely. So the only chance that you had was opening with a Demigra and at least 2 of these guys. So that way you could kill their guys before they could awaken and replenish them basically. But nowadays you don't see it that much. So I think this is great. Me personally, I used to play 4 of these, the same exact package, but just an extra one of those. It's the only thing so far that I can see.
The only reason I do play this one is coming down in the the tech cards that you guys have already seen. We played 2 Zarbon, and against my round 3 or 4 matchup against Blue Baby, I literally went Zarbon, pitch this, add this back to hand, do another Zarbon, pitch this, add this back to hand.
Cards amazing.
Excuse me. I literally could never swing but once a turn. He wasn't being aggro. He was swinging leader, passing. If he had a unison, swing unison, pass. He's never swung at my leader. Every swing was at my unison. So I was I have to play these blockers. And so this was actually big in that matchup for me, since I gotta just keep adding this back and keep playing the Zarbon's back. He had a huge hand. It was just picking a card out of his hand every turn, every time I block with this guy. Giving the unison revenge, so he didn't want to swing with his Gohan counter plays and stuff. He was just using servant on those. So it was just getting less stuff on his board while it gave me time to find an answer. And ironically, the answer was playing this unison for hard casting it for 7 and taking 2 life in 1 turn. So he left the one up he didn't kill because of all those Arbons I was playing. Put one under it, -7, because he had 2 life. Took 1 life, and then I just showed him the second one, and I was like, I'm just going to tap 7 for the second one, and I don't think Blue has a response to this. And he's like, no, I don't have a response to it. So that was how game 1 ended.
Most of these mechanics for Dragon Ball, that -7 or like the cab blow, that type of interaction, ain't nothing to fuck with it.
Yeah. I mean, especially with paying 7 for it, you couldn't be Zamasu either since you paid 7. So I didn't think there was anything he could do, but I always give him the option just in case. Then like y'all seen this card's ribbed. This is just to stabilize when you're playing control matchups.
This card's pretty good right now.
This card is like really good right now. So I know we talked about this in the last video. If you forgot what he does, since he is a newer card, he's got a limit 1. You can pay a green, play him from your hand. If you have 3 or more energy and you have a unison on the board, he takes a marker off your opponent's unison. You Spirit Boost X. If you do 2 or more markers, he gets double strike. He gets 5k for each marker. So I tried to game Legends with this, but he had tested me opposition. So yeah, it just one game. I left him at 1 life, and then he was able to just mill me out in turn after that. I play these other 2 blockers just because they're free and they're 1-drops. So I always end up needing just a 1-drop battle card for Cell Xeno. As always, I have this guy and a Frieza, and I'm like, well, dang, I need a 1-drop. So I still play these. You still play the Gokuls, but they just kind of go so fast, So like, you gotta play these, and then just having more revenge blockers, it helps. The cards I play 1 of, I still just play 1 copy of Chill in the main. He KOs something, ignoring barrier equal to the number of cards in your opponent's hand or less. I swapped the Overrealm. Secret Identity didn't feel like it was doing amazing for me. So I cut Secret Identity. We went to fighting against Fate to make it easier to close games out.
Hold on, let me sit here for a minute. How do you feel about this card? Just Overwhelm in general in the deck. The only reason why I'm asking that, I never liked Overwhelm in the deck.
It's tough.
Because I didn't want to get rid of these guys, my pieces, or these guys that work in the drop. The only Overwhelm that I ever played was on Side when I played Big Boy 3. It's the only time I played an Overwhelm. So I'm just curious as to how it worked out.
I tried to not have to use this.
Right.
Like, the only times I ever Overwhelmed this card was when I knew for sure it would be game.
Right.
And then I wouldn't be, like, losing anything out of the drop. Because it's like, I'd had this a couple games early on, and it's like, I really can't use this. Like,
It's a dead card. Right.
Yeah. Because, like, you have a Gotenks out, you got your pieces.
You don't want to lose your
drop.
value.
Yeah, you don't want to lose the value. You don't want your Gotenks to die and you get nothing back.
Right.
So you just don't want to Overwhelm them.
But the fact he's Overwhelmed 6, don't you think since you're mainly using it as a finisher, do you think you maybe should use a better Overwhelm card as a finisher?
I think he's the best generic.
I mean,
one
as
right
finisher
now.
goes,
He's
I
free.
think that's the best one.
He's
100%.
free.
It's just the
He's
dual
one
The
of
attack.
other
dual
2 would
attack.
be Secret Identity and Man on Mission.
I mean, realistically, Secret Identity, what do you need to get rid of? You already get rid of everything with Reaper or other
these
stuff.
These
you know
dudes
what I mean?
are like these 5 Gotenks. They're clearing everything.
Yeah.
Like this dude is like, you're clearing boards.
And Man
This
on
is
Mission.
your this and Chilled as your barrier removal. So you've got barrier removal and everything. Like even if you're playing against like a 3-drop slug, you've got revenge blockers. I have to swing with him for him to get his skill. So like you're gonna clear them.
So you feel the dual attack is a bigger benefit than say double strike on?
Free
or
free
Overwhelm?
25k dual attack is the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's usually like
Because there is the double strike crit one.
Well, you got to think about, so Man on a Mission, if you're just doing it at the end, does the crit really matter? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, if
So
it's a game, and then also Man on the Mission's only 20k, whereas he's 25.
Right.
Right.
And when if they're at 1 life,
Well, I just remember you said you cut Chomp out, so now you're down at double strike source. So that's
yeah, you are down a double strike, but I play it like as a value deck. Like
Bro, yeah.
I play slow. I never combo on my swings unless I like absolutely have to, or
Right.
like you've like double beamed or something. I literally just do not combo on any swing. So I just want you to either take life or lose cards, and then I'm just gonna like keep pecking you. You know, I'll work your hand down just a little bit with roses and roots. Of course, we play Cell. I sold like literally every single game today.
And how are you feeling about Cell with the errata in Cell Xeno or with Gotenks?
Let me answer that for you. Just remember you're going to play this in turn 5. Turn 5, Cell Center, still Cell Center. No matter what you do, that is Cell Center.
Yeah.
That is full power Cell Center. Sure, the errata, whatever, but you're a mid-range deck. Like, you're not going to kill super quickly.
You're going to turn
so
5.
this guy is going to result
You're
full
literally
power.
going to turn 5. I played against Mill twice, and this never got milled out, and I always drew it. Like
Lucky.
it was never in my opening hand, Never got milled, always drew it, so. I still lost the Legends. I won the last mill round that I played. But it was there. I dropped this on Legends both games, and he survived it. But
That legend.
we
He's a
played
legend.
the combo. So you play 6 unisons. Ideally, after you find one and stick it, you kind of generally don't ever need a second. So like since you play 6, you have to play this because you have to get rid of them when you need to survive. So these you can't combo these, and you can't combo these. So like once you've already used this, and like you know when like Dormant's dead. Like when you're at like 1 or 2 life, this card fucking sucks. Like it's over. They only need to connect 1 or 2 swings. Like this is a dead card at that point. You just warp that type of stuff away, so you don't have to warp combo power, and then it helps you survive. So like you have to play this super combo.
So fun fact, I'm not a fan of like the whole splitting super combos thing, but this was one deck where I actually did it. Because if you play 2 of these, and then I'll play 2 of the really old Trunks super combos, set 1 or 2, because when they pop this guy, if you use one, you can grab it back to hand and recycle it. That's the only reason why I did it.
That is pretty good. I've never seen that.
Yeah. The last 2 cards is Homicidal Clones. I use this like maybe 3 times all day. The only reason I have it main deck is to protect my unison, because sometimes when people realize you're getting close to 7, is when they'll start diverting attention to it. And it's like once you -7 in this unison, you win that game. Like you don't -7 this unison and not win the game. So this was here just for double protection for the unison if I couldn't find like a blocker or something for it. So that was it. I've never used this to like protect my leader swings from anything. You generally just want the hand. Yeah, I'll just take the life. So that was the main. And we'll get into the side.
For the first time seeing the sideboard.
Which we usually don't show them. So my side, it's a little bit updated. I play 2 of the Boo in the side. I used to play 1 in main. It's for slower matchups, which like almost every game's slower now. Alright, so like against King Cold, this is like a blowout card. Against decks that want to establish big unisons, like 4-drop Blue Boo, the cooler decks that want to play the Jaren Unison, Gotenks Secret Rare, all that stuff. You play this dude, he's got deflect, they're not answering it. All that stuff is gone. They lose 2 cards. Your leader permanent on the back says your opponent's leader can't attack your battle cards. This guy says when he's in rest mode, your opponent has to pitch 2 to attack your leader. They're not gonna swing at your leader. 2 Topo Boo. On every side of this card in the day. I didn't play against anything super aggressive. But it's literally just green Topo. 1 more chilled. I did side this in, but I forgot against what. 2 Blue Impulse. So this was for like mainly blue. They're the only deck that really plays on your turn. But if you've got a unison that's 1 green, they play a battle card on your turn, activate main, you blow up all their battle cards. Removal. 2 Death Ball for like kind of like Weenie Rush decks. So I didn't play against any Jaren decks at all, but I had it there to get rid of their 1-drops. And then I did side 3 different Overrealm cards to give me options. So there is still a little bit of Dark Broly running around. Right? So since they can only do their leader thing once per turn, that's not like super good against them anymore. But like, it's still there as a triple attacker since, it's harder for them to survive with that being a thing. So you still want to play this, and when they do that one, you still get another card from their hand, and then it's still a 25 triple attack. I played this also in case I had to play against Jaren, because a lot of the times they will swarm 1-drops early. And if you can set this up early, you get a lot of advantage if you can just get rid of all their 1-drops. This was all for all the slower games. I only started this in against Baby today, and it won me game 2 against Baby. I food, and he tapped 5 for God Sealing because he didn't have a unison and bounced it back in my hand. But then he Oceanus my next swing, and so I just swung until I milled enough to play it again, and then I passed. And then I just literally started the next turn by playing it again, and he just scooped. So.
That's Dragon. Please do not don't give your opponent more resources than you just gave them.
So then we played 2 Deborah just in case I came up against any hand control or any red decks, or even green decks that are playing this. So I sided this in against the second Cooler Mill player since I knew Legends wasn't playing Topo because he hates Topo with Cooler. Like everybody knows that. So I sided these in because he Topo'd me game 1, and then he literally did not draw Topo again for the rest of the game. So they were just dead in my hand all game. And then the very last card was Clash of the Mass Warriors. So there's a lot of unisons running around right now with like double strike and can give themselves triple strike and all other types of stuff. So you pay 1,
King Cold,
and then they either remove a marker off their unison, which if they gave it double strike by that unison skill or triple strike or whatever, then it will lose that skill. Or you don't take any damage from strike skills. So like
It's literally, I'm not taking damage.
yeah, you're not taking damage from that strike skill, like regardless on this. Like you're only gonna put this in against like relevant unisons.
Like the
No,
secret
like-
rare.
It doesn't really matter against the blue one because it's not a skill that gives them double strike, but like
King Cold.
you would so they would either take the marker off or you wouldn't take double strike from the swing still though. So it's just like another thing to make it where you don't just get clapped by it so easily. And then that was my whole side. Juan, do you have any thoughts on the side?
No, I think it's pretty solid for everything that that's currently on the meta right now. I think it's pretty good. Looks pretty good.
Where do you see the meta shifting, and how do you think this is going to hold up?
As long as King Gohan's like a big deck that everybody's gonna be playing everywhere. Me and Juan both agree that Gotenks is kind of just like you just don't win that matchup. Like you're not gonna awaken early. You can't stick in unison, and then like once you can't awaken and they drop the 3-drop slug, or you can't draw anymore. Like you're never gonna have hand advantage to kill the slug, so you just won't have a hand or awaken until they want you to. And so as long as that's like the best deck, I don't think Gotenks can really like be a top contender unless you somehow like just dodge all the Kid Icarus. Like I did today, I didn't play a single one.
Yeah, it just becomes pretty rough, and then obviously Zamasu counterplay doesn't necessarily hit Gotenks with to send it back to the hand, but it hits him with tapping him, so you lose the advantage of dual attack and so on and so forth.
But to be fair, it's about knowing the meta you're going into,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
This market here is known for being an anti-meta area, so if you've got any place you're going to dodge Icarus, it probably would have been here this weekend, right?
Yeah, and luckily I did dodge it, but there was like 4 or 5 players playing the deck here. It was the most represented deck in the room still, even with this being an anti-meta area. I just got lucky enough to dodge it somehow. If I would have played against the deck, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have topped because I got 8th. I went X1, only lost 1 game to Legends, so playing Cooler Mill. But I do not think I could have beat Icarus today at all with this deck.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's a lot of decks right now.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's
anything
an
that's like
insane matchup.
relying on you sticking to unison to like flip and like get your draw power going, like you just once they like know you need the unison, like they'll just hold for the Zamasu so you can't play it, and there's like not much you can do about it.
Shout out to the guy that I did 4 Zamasus in a row in the unison.
Just
Sorry,
because
man.
Bandai wants the meta now to shift to a meta to where you play your unison and you just like manage spirit boost and all that. Like,
But you just a monster.
Yeah, so like it just kills like all the spirit boost decks right now.
And
So,
leaders that awaken off of like a specific
yeah, like
unison.
Gotenks, Topo, those type of leaders where you like need a specified cost unison of some type to awaken, or you need spirit boost for your deck to work. Like Zamasu just says no. Like unless you got a 1-drop unison, like people generally aren't gonna Zamasu that because you'll typically have the energy to just play it again, right? So the other deck I was gonna play was Mono Green Boo because your unison is a 1-drop, so you don't have to really worry about it getting killed, and you can put out a lot of pressure. The problem is once they bean, all your cards are 15k. Now you have to go neg to try to deal damage. So I decided to go with Gotenks.
and almost every deck now has a beam too.
Yeah, like almost everything can pump 5k. So we took this, we did good with it, and I'm proud, happy with it.
Good stuff.
And that was it. Anybody else have any thoughts or anything?
We got any shout outs, anything we want to do before we head out?
Of course. Shout out to Team FoexPPG. You know, all the players are good dudes. They're all pleasant to be around. I love playing events with them. Shout out to John Peterson. He's got a 10K?
1K.
1K. Coming up in 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks we got a 1K in South St. Pete, RTFC Gaming. It's one of the last PPG qualifiers for their tour. But yeah, it should be pretty stacked. A lot of people
It's
plan
gonna
on
be a
coming.
fun event. Everybody in the area, you should come down. If you're not in the area, you should come down. We drove like 6.5 hours to come down here. It's fun. You're gonna have a good time. If you got the time off in about 3 weeks, you should definitely come down. It's gonna be great.
Was it October 16th?
October 16th.
There you go.
And that was it, guys. We appreciate your time. and we'll see you in the next one.